Definitely need to pray for Jonathan this morning. Because look what y'all get. And I'm not prepared. One of the things we are going to do this morning, it's something we used to do years ago. We used to have praise and prayer time. So if there's a prayer need today that you didn't come forward with, but you just want to stand up sometime or another when the time comes and just ask for the congregation to be in prayer for you, we don't do that. And also, if there's something and we know God has done something in your life this week, and I want to hear from you. I want to know, it encourages me when you stand up or when you say, God has blessed me this week with this. And it blesses everyone. I always like to lead off with a joke, and as I was kind of, all I do is type in jokes from the pulpit, and I laugh. I thought I'll read them and I'll just laugh, and I say, well, I got to pick out the right one that I want. But I got thinking, as I was reading them and I was laughing, I was thinking back this past year. You know, my mother passed away back in September, I think, September the 30th, and she was so much fun. She loved to laugh. And she loved to tell jokes. She wasn't very good at them. And what it was, she would hear a joke maybe at work, and she would come home and she would want to tell 4 or 5 of us the joke. And about halfway through, she would get so tickled, and it ended. So we were sitting there and be watching her laughing, wondering what she's laughing. Place we can come and we can just have a good time, and we can love on one another, and we can encourage one another, and we can just give God praise, and we can come together and we can have prayer. But the joke that I picked out this morning, I don't want to offend no mother-in-laws, mine not here, but it is a mother-in-law joke, and I will put on my glasses so I won't mispronounce some word and it changes the whole joke. Yeah. It said, a man and his seeing trip to the Holy Land. It said the man nagging, critical mother-in-law accompanied them. During the trip, the mother-in-law died. He went to the local undertaker to find out what options he was going to take. Well, the undertaker said, for $5,000 we can ship her home. But for $150, bury her here in Israel. The man thought for a few minutes and said, well, I will take her home. The undertaker said, didn't you hear what I said? I told you it would only cost $150 to bury her here. You could save thousands of dollars. Well, said the man, I heard that around here there was once a man who died and came alive again. I just cannot take that chance. Oh, you know, we don't say that. If my mother-in-law was here, I wouldn't have done that joke. So I do want y'all to kind of think, as I read over some verses, I do want y'all to kind of just think of some have this morning. Some praise reports that what God has done in your life this past week. So, but there was one certain verse this morning, and then I'll read out of the Psalm. But there's been a verse that it pops up on a Bible app. It's kind of like the daily verse for the day. And a couple of weeks ago, it popped up, and you know, a lot of time when it pops up, I'll read it, but it's kind of like we talked in Sunday school. I think Jason mentioned that a lot of time you'll read things and you just read through it. You never really comprehend what was even said. But this particular one, I didn't do that. It jumped out at me, and it comes out of Romans 12, verse 2. And it says these words, and this is Paul doing the writing. It said, and do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. Whose mind needs to be transformed this morning? It says not to be conformed to this world. What does that mean? How many times do we get so close to the world that we really could just cross over real quick? We don't want to be that kind of mindset. We want to be transformed by the renewing of our mind so that our mind thinks different. We don't go along with what the world says. I think Miss Terry mentioned in Sunday school this morning, I've been guilty of watching a particular show called Yellowstone. And it's a great written type a show. But man, the language in it is just ferocious. And a lot of times when we allow us to hear certain things, that language penetrates our mind. And we are now conformed